Picture this. It's 7:30 in the morning, you're already running late, and your child is completely ignoring you when you ask them to get dressed. Sound familiar? You've probably tried everything from bribes to consequences, maybe even raised your voice more times than you'd like to admit. But what if I told you there's actually a science-backed approach that can get your child listening the first time without any of the drama? I'm talking about a method so effective that kids go from ignoring everything to cooperating within days, sometimes even hours of trying it. Here's the thing. Most parents don't realize. When your child isn't listening, it's not because they're being defiant or testing your limits. Most of the time, it's because we're speaking to them in a way their developing brain simply can't process effectively. Today, I'm going to share the exact 5-step system that transforms how children respond to instructions. And by the end of this video, you'll never have to repeat yourself endlessly or feel like you're failing as a parent again. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever been completely absorbed in scrolling through your phone when your partner asks you a question, and then they say something like, "Hello, are you even listening to me?" and you genuinely didn't hear them? That exact same thing happens to your child constantly, and it's the key to understanding why traditional approaches often fail. When children are engaged in activities, whether they're building with blocks, watching their favorite show, or pretending to be superheroes, their brains enter what we call hyperfocus mode. In this state, it's as if they're wearing invisible noise-cancelling headphones. Your words literally bounce off them because their attention is completely locked onto what they're doing. This isn't defiance or selective hearing. It's actually how their developing brain is designed to work. So the first step in getting your child to listen is what I call the connection bridge. Before you give any instruction, you need to break through that hyperfocus barrier and actually get their attention. Here's exactly how to do it. Walk over to where your child is, and this part is crucial. Crouch down to their eye level. I cannot stress this enough. Standing over them while giving instructions can actually trigger their stress response, making them more likely to ignore you, argue, or shut down completely. When you crouch down, you signal safety and connection, which puts their brain in the optimal state for listening. Next, gently place your hand on their arm, shoulder, or hand. This physical touch acts like a gentle tap on the shoulder, redirecting their attention from whatever they're focused on to you. Then simply say their name and wait. Don't rush this part. Wait until they actually make eye contact with you. That moment when they look up at you is your green light that you've successfully made the connection. Only then should you move to step 2, which I call smart sizing. This is where most parents unknowingly sabotage their own success. Picture your child's working memory like a small whiteboard in their mind, where they temporarily hold information. As adults, our mental whiteboards are pretty large, allowing us to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously. But children's whiteboards are tiny, and when you overload them with too many instructions at once, one of two things happens. Either they only complete part of what you asked because they've forgotten the rest, or they don't do anything at all because they're completely overwhelmed. The solution is matching your instructions to your child's developmental stage. Around 18 months, most toddlers can only handle simple, single-step directions like pick up the ball or sit down. Anything more complex will likely confuse or overwhelm them. By age 2, many children can manage 2 closely related steps, such as pick up the ball and put it in the basket. Notice how these steps flow naturally together. At 3 years old, children can typically follow 2 unrelated steps, like give me the teddy bear and then put on your shoes. And by age 5, most kids can handle 3 unrelated instructions, such as put the toys away, grab your backpack, and come to the kitchen. But it's not just about the number of steps. Your instructions need to be specific and positive. Instead of saying something vague like clean up and get ready, Try, put the blocks in the blue container. Instead of stop running, say, please walk. This tells them exactly what to do rather than what not to do, making success much more likely. Once you've given that clear, developmentally appropriate instruction, we move to step 3, the processing pause. This might be the most important step, and it's the one most parents skip entirely. After giving your instruction, stay right there with your child and count to 10 in your head before repeating anything or raising your voice. Why is this so critical? Research shows that a child's brain needs approximately 7 to 10 seconds to process spoken instructions. In that time, they have to decode the words they heard, understand what those words mean, plan how to execute the action, and then coordinate their body to actually do it. When we rush this process by repeating instructions too quickly, we're essentially interrupting their mental processing, which makes them even less likely to comply. During this 10-second pause, resist the urge to prompt, remind, or repeat. Just wait patiently. You'll be amazed how often children will start moving toward compliance during this crucial window. After your patient pause, one of two things will happen. Either your child will do what you asked, which brings us to step 4, spotlight recognition, or they won't, which leads us to step 5, guided follow-through. Let's talk about step 4 first. When your child does follow your instruction, immediately acknowledge their success with specific praise. Instead of a generic, good job, try something like, I noticed you put all the blocks in the container just like I asked. Or, you got your shoes on so quickly. This specific recognition serves multiple purposes. It helps your child understand exactly what behavior you want to see repeated, makes them feel genuinely proud of their accomplishment, and creates a positive association with following directions. This type of specific praise is incredibly powerful because it teaches children that listening the first time leads to positive attention from you. Over time, this builds both their confidence and their natural desire to cooperate. But what happens when your child doesn't follow through after your patient pause? This brings us to step 5, guided follow-through. This step is essential because you want your child to learn that when you give an instruction, you mean it the first time, not after multiple repetitions or raised voices. If your child isn't moving toward compliance after your 10-second pause, it's time to step in and help them follow through immediately. Start by repeating the instruction, but make it even simpler if needed. For example, if you originally said, go get dressed, and they're not responding, break it down to, put on your shirt, while pointing to the shirt. If they're still not moving, that's your cue to provide hands-on help. Using the dressing example, you might say, sit on the bed, while guiding them there. Then, pick up your shirt, while placing it in their hands. And finally, put your arms through the sleeves, while helping them if necessary. The key is to praise their efforts at each step. This builds their confidence while reinforcing that the task will be completed regardless of initial resistance. Over time, children learn that ignoring instructions doesn't make them go away, so they're much more likely to cooperate from the start. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, especially when you're in a hurry. But here's the reality. Taking these extra moments up front actually saves you enormous amounts of time and energy in the long run. Instead of spending 10 minutes repeating yourself, negotiating, or dealing with meltdowns, you invest 30 seconds in doing it right the first time. Let me share a real example of how this works. Sarah, a mum I worked with, was constantly frustrated because her 4-year-old son would ignore her when it was time to leave for preschool. Every morning was a battle. After learning this system, she started walking over to him instead of calling from across the room, crouching down to his level, making eye contact, and saying simply, "Time to put on your shoes." Then she would count to 10. The first few times she had to help him follow through, but within a week, he was responding to her initial request. What used to take 15 minutes of struggle now took 2 minutes, and their mornings became peaceful instead of chaotic. This approach works because it aligns with how children's brains actually function, rather than fighting against their natural development. You're not trying to force compliance through volume or consequences. Instead, you're creating the optimal conditions for your child's brain to receive, process, and act on your instructions. One thing I want to emphasize is that this isn't about creating robots who comply without thinking. Quite the opposite, actually. When children feel heard and understood, when instructions are given in a way they can easily process, they're much more likely to cooperate willingly. This builds their confidence, strengthens your relationship, and teaches them valuable skills about communication and follow-through. Some parents worry that this approach takes too much time, especially during busy mornings or when you're dealing with multiple children. But remember, you're investing time up front to save much more time later. And once your children learn this new pattern of interaction, they'll respond much more quickly to your initial requests. It's also important to understand that this won't work perfectly every single time. Children are human beings with their own thoughts, feelings, and moods. Sometimes they'll have off days when cooperation feels impossible, and that's completely normal. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and a more peaceful daily experience for your whole family. What makes this approach so effective is that it's based on understanding child development rather than trying to override it. When we work with our children's natural brain development instead of against it, everything becomes easier. Instructions are heard and understood. Children feel respected and capable, and parents feel more confident in their approach. The beautiful thing about this system is that it grows with your child. As their working memory expands and their processing speed increases, you can gradually adjust your expectations while maintaining the same respectful, brain-friendly approach. Remember, changing ingrained patterns takes time and consistency. Don't expect overnight miracles, but do expect steady improvement. So, starting today, try implementing these 5 steps. Make that connection first. Size your instructions appropriately. Pause patiently for processing. Spotlight their success and guide them through when needed. Your family dynamics can transform more quickly than you might imagine, and those daily power struggles can become a thing of the past.